we stopped off at a point where everyone returned to the tabulation room. You recall telling us about that?
Yes.
And what happened in that tabulation room?
When Mr. Lowingfield plugged in the flash drive, the first thing that came on the screen was not the last place we had left previously.
And was the last place you had left the East Bank file?
Yes, we were working on the East Bank area of Region 4 when Mr. Levan left previously.
Well, what came up on the screen? Can you recall?
South Georgetown.
Sure. Now, earlier in your evidence, you told us that at the polling agents, persons had taken photographs of the statements of polls, as well as having copies of the statements of polls. You recall saying that?
Yes.
Now, did you take a photograph of the last posting done by Mr. Levan before he left the room and went to the other room?
Yes, we did. I did.
And if you see that photograph again, will you be able to identify it?
Yes, I should be able to.
How did you take the photograph?
With my phone.
Okay. I'm asking that the witness be shown a document. A document has been placed in your hand. Could you tell us what it depicts, please?
This depicts the verification that was in process up to the end of when Mr. Levan left, and as you can see, we did up to 40, number 40 in the verification process.
Thank you. I'm asking that this be admitted as JY1A, and I have 3 copies for the commissioners. And you also spoke about the file that was shown when the flash drive was reopened in the tabulation room. Did you take a photograph of that as well?
Yes, I did.
How did you do so?
My phone.
I'm going to ask that you be shown a document. You now have a document in your hand. Are you able to tell us what that depicts?
This depicts one of the Georgetown subdivisions for the Region 4 area.
And was this where you all had left off when Mr. Levan had left the room earlier?
No, we hadn't even started counting this yet.
I'm asking that this be admitted as JY1B, and I have 3 copies for the commissioners.
Can you take this? Mr. Yearwood, the document that you were first shown, which is marked JY1A, this you say was a photograph taken by you of the last page that was worked on by Mr. Levan.
Yes, sir.
The information that you recorded and which is reproduced on this photograph that you took, carries incorrect numbers that were recorded, called out by Mr. Livan?
Probably yes. Those, Mr. Livan, the ladies, I think, finished at 40:33. So everything after that should have been done by Mr. Livan, and those would have been incorrect. Would have incorrect numbers on them.
Can you show, please, where this number that you're speaking about is reflected? Oh, it's the first column, is it?
Yeah, well, if you look at the top, there's each political party has the acronym
Uh-huh.
ANUG, APNU, AFC, CG, LJP.
No, I'm talking about the numbering of the statements of poll.
This would be to the far left.
Yes, all right, thank you.
So when this information about South Georgetown popped up on the screen, what was the reaction of the persons in the room?
What was the reaction? We were all very surprised. Why was it opening up to an area we hadn't worked on? And we questioned why it was being opened up at that point.
Now, was the CEO still in the room?
Yes, he was still there.
Did anyone speak to the CEO? I beg your pardon.
No, I only wish to say, and the chairman made this observation with you earlier. Speak for yourself, please.
Yeah.
This, you're
My
not here
apologies.
in a representative capacity.
My apologies.
Thank you.
Yes. So, did anyone speak to the CEO in your presence?
Yes, someone did.
Can you recall who spoke to the CEO?
Many of the party agents asked the CEO what was really happening at this point in time.
And these requests were in your presence on hearing?
Yes.
Did you make any complaint or representation to the CEO?
Yes, I did at the said time.
Did the CEO reply to you?
To me, not directly, but maybe to the group. And he said that he will try to find out what was going on.
Did anyone ask Mr. Livan what was the reason for this discrepancy?
Not in those words, but yes, he was asked about it
By whom?
by multiple party agents,
Did you-
including myself.
Okay. Did Mr. Livan at this point give an explanation as to why an area which had not yet been verified was represented on the flash drive?
No, he didn't give any answer that I can recall.
Did the CEO ask Mr. Livan why there was this discrepancy between what had been recorded up till the time of the close of verification and what was now being shown on the screen?
Not to my recall.
Now, when Mr. Levan pulled up these documents which you saw on the screen, did you observe whether the flash drive you spoke about earlier was inserted in the laptop that was being used for this process?
Yes, it was Mr. Lowenfield who had taken the flash drive from the previous room, brought it back into the tabulation verification room, and had I think he had given it to Mr. Levan to insert into the laptop on the desk.
And after the insertion, did Mr. Levan use the laptop to show what was on the screen?
Yes, he did.
Did anyone else use the laptop to show what was on the screen?
No.
Did the verification process continue after these observations and objections which you have described were made?
No further verification was done.
Did Mr. Lowenfield say anything about the continuation of the process at that stage?
Yes, he did. He said that he will close off for the night, and that we should all restart at 9 a.m. the morning.
The following morning?
Well, it was morning already.
I
so
see, yes, true.
Later in the morning.
Yes. Now, I forgot to ask you this, sir, but you said that you had gone to the tabulation room around 6:30 the evening before. You recall saying
Yeah,
that?
that's correct.
And you told us about party agents being there and so on. Yes?
Yes.
Now, can you tell us whether there were any observers in that room when you arrived there?
Yes, there were both local observers and international observers present within the tabulation room. Yes.
And did you recognize any of the local observers?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us, can you recall now who they were? If you can't recall,
To be honest
just
with you,
indicate.
At this point, no, but I do know that there were local and foreign observers there present.
Sure.
They were changing, well, not at the time, but they had changed representatives. So
Sure. And how did you know they fell into the category of observers?
they all had accreditation badges on.
Thank you. Now, when Mr. Lowenfield declared that the process would be stopped and you all would come back for 9 o'clock in the morning, did anyone ask him for anything?
Yes, we did.
Well, you did?
Yes, I did. I asked, along with other party agents as a collective as well, that I asked for a printout of everything that we had done so far, so as to ensure that when we start later in the morning, we have documentation as to where we ended previously.
And which region or district we were talking about?
We were talking about Region 4 at the East Bank
Sure.
subdivision.
Did you ever receive such a printout?
Yes, I did. Mr. Lowenfield gave each and every party representative a copy of that document.
Sure. And let me take you to 9 a.m. that morning. Sorry.
Before
Sorry.
you move on, transition to the morning, could Mr. Yearwood be shown, please, JY1A and JY1B? So, Mr. Yearwood, these documents, JY1A and JY1B, do you know if they have a name in the election process? Are, are these referred to by any specific names? Is it a form, a specific form, Form 24? Is it any such thing?
I
You don't know.
I don't recall that. no.
Right. So this is a screenshot of the laptop of what came up on the laptop, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I see that JY1A says East Bank.
Uh-huh.
Now, I want you to describe for me what JY1B is. It doesn't say South Georgetown. It says District 4, and then I see a number. Can you tell me what it is I'm looking
Okay.
at when I'm looking at JY1B?
Okay. JY1A starts with the returning officer for Region 4, which is the largest electoral district for Guyana, was subdivided into 4 regions: East Bank, South Georgetown, North Georgetown, and East Coast Demerara. And the objective was to take each of those subdivisions one at a time.
Right.
So while I was there, they had started with East Bank. So we had worked from the East Bank, and if you look at the ballot OT, well, it's ballot, and then there's the ballot box ID.
Mm-hmm.
It goes in numerical order. We had actually started from 4001, and at this point we had ended at 4040. And there was a ballot box number, which gives the identification of the ballot box per polling station.
Okay, so East Bank had not been completed at the time you stopped.
No, it had not been completed.
Okay. This JY1A would be a template that the operator of the computer calls up and then fills in the data, correct?
Correct, with
So
all
it-
the formulas already inputted.
Yeah, so it's a template that he calls up and he just inputs the data.
That's right.
All right, good. Can we turn to JY1B? Now tell me what we're looking at there, please.
This is the subdivision of South Georgetown.
No, it doesn't say South Georgetown.
It
does
doesn't say that.
But you know from the various
Yes.
Turning Point, Tuckville Primary School that it's South
Yes.
Georgetown. What are the numbers that we're seeing there spread in the various boxes?
Well, the first number would be if you may need to look at both simultaneously, because the headings would be the same. The ballot box, then there's the ballot box ID,
Yes,
and then there's the polling place,
right.
and then there is the name, and then we go into the political parties that contested the elections.
So I suppose the point I'm trying to ask, should numbers have been in these? You see there the number, look at E, where it says E at the very top.
Uh-huh.
E, F, G, H, I. And then there are numbers in there.
Uh-huh.
What do those numbers signify?
Those numbers signify the running totals of what should have been counted already.
Of what should have been counted already?
Yes.
But should they have been there? If you're saying this is South Georgetown,
Uh-huh.
should numbers have been in these boxes?
I don't know, because remember I had gone into the counting of Region 4 2 days late, a day and a half late.
The counting of Region 4 or the verification?
The
of-
verification of Region 4. I went in on the 4th. The verification actually should have started the evening of the 2nd.
So it was possible that South Georgetown would have already been verified?
Could have been, yes, but I cannot say that I knew that.
You don't know whether
I
it
don't
was
know
or
that.
not?
I don't know that.
Did you find out or hear from anybody whether it had been verified already?
No, I didn't.
Right. So there is no significance really then in what you say when the chief elections officer or Mr. Levan, I can't remember which, opened the laptop. It opened on to South
Uh-huh.
Georgetown, but there was nothing necessarily untoward about that. It's just a file that you would click on, East Bank, South Georgetown. Correct?
Not necessarily so.
Let me ask it this way. What did you see wrong, or if anything,
Okay.
with the computer being open and the file South Georgetown appearing on the screen? What did you see wrong with that, if anything?
We were working on the East Bank area.
Right.
I saw no reason why, upon reopening the same system,
Yeah.
it should be open to another district, which we were not working on at the time.
Yes, but before Mr. Levan closed the computer, it's possible that he closed the East Bank file. Is that possible?
Yes, it is possible.
And it's possible that he could have opened the South Georgetown file.
Well, he did open the South
Yes.
Georgetown file.
But
But-
what? Yeah.
But if you work on computers, you know each file is labeled.
What do you mean by labeled?
Each file has a name.
Right.
So you open the file with the name that you're working on.
But what I'm trying to get at is beyond the when the laptop was reopened, right? Other than it not opening up on the East Bank file and opening up on the South Georgetown file, you can't say whether there was any interference with the numbers or not.
No,
'Cause
I
you
cannot
don't
say
know
that.
if it had been verified.
I cannot say that.
Right. Yeah. In your view, it ought to have opened on the East Bank file, and it didn't.
In my view.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Yearwood, if you look at the two documents that were put in, JY1A and JY1B, in their formats, they are completely different.
May I ask in what way, sir?
Well, if you look at JY1A, you see the identification, a title for the information. For example, you have ballot box ID, and there's something written BALLOT in the first column.
That's the ballot box number.
Yes. Then you have polling place, then you have number of electors, then you have the names of political parties. I don't see those things on JY1B. You accept that?
I accept that, sir.
Good. So, but we see numbers
Yes, sir.
on JY1B. But there is nothing to relate those numbers to any political party.
On this, no, sir.
JY1B. Okay.
However, if you notice, at the extreme left of JY1B,
Mhm.
it starts at number 4
Yes.
instead of number 1, where the heading should be.
Yes.
So the headings should have occupied 1 and maybe 2. So maybe that's why they're not here on this.
No, you're speculating. And what is to prevent the conclusion that this is a completely different form. You can't speculate as what might have been or what should be. This is the picture that you took
Yes, sir.
of a form that appeared on the screen.
On the screen, yes, sir.
You accept that it's a different form.
That makes it even more suspicious. Why would a different form be on the GCOM's computer?
Well,
I don't think you've been asked about whether it is suspicious or not. What? You're being asked, looking at the two forms, JY1A and JY1B,
Uh-huh.
would you accept the JY1B is a different form from the JY1A? Just looking at that.
I would accept that they're different because the headings are different.
they're different.
They are different and they're from two different areas.
Right. Okay.
Do the forms differ from area to area as far as you know?
As far as I know, no. They shouldn't be. Because the same form that is used in JY1A was used when I was counting in Fort Wellington.
Can I ask you, Mr.
Sure.
Yearwood, are you disputing that JY1B was a GCOM record?
No, I'm not disputing that. Because it came out of a GCOM flash drive.
But you can't say, can you? I mean, you say this was the first thing that appeared on the screen, JY1B. Is it possible that it had nothing to do with those elections? It was just a file that he had been looking at and left open?
If I may, sir,
Yes.
why would GCOM allow in the tabulation of an area, a file that has nothing to do with the tabulation and the verifications, to be on their flash drive? To me, as a layman, that makes absolutely no sense.
Could it have been a template that they didn't end up using? I mean, people have all kinds of files on their laptops. He might have, you say there was a template that was used for this verification process, yeah? And you go and you just input the data, correct? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
I don't know the
Yeah,
system.
but at the same time, if you're using a template, why would you fill in all the numbers on it? You might fill in a number or two to make sure that your template is working.
Yeah.
But here we have 14 numbers all filled in.
Do the numbers seem, they seem to be, you have any comments on the numbers? I see 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. What would those be?
What it means is like line 5.
Yes.
There's 107 electors for that polling station, of which 4 voted for one number, for one political party.
Yeah.
That is what I can assume from looking at this.
And what happened to the rest of the votes?
That would be a very difficult question for me to answer, sir.
Meaning, yes. So the truth is, we don't really know what this thing is. This JY1B. Do we know what this is?
I know it appeared on the screen,
Yeah. That's all we can say, that it appeared on the screen, but we
In a-
don't really know what it is.
and it appeared in the screen in a very heated moment.
Okay.
And I guess that you could also say that it relates to polling places in the south of Georgetown.
Yes, sir.
So you can say that.
That I can say.
Mr. Yearwood, let me ask you. Listening to you about the closing of this, the information on the flash drive and the reopening, your concern is you last worked on a file relating to the East Bank.
Yes, sir.
And when the flash drive is reopened, South Georgetown appears.
Yes, sir.
That's your concern.
Yes, sir. And the fact that Mr. Levan was seen in his room with the assumption that he was working on files concerning the elections at that, just shortly before that resumption.
Yes. Taking your own evidence before us, you said files are given specific titles, specific names.
In my use of computers, yes, sir.
Yeah, we all understand that. So when the file was closed, the one that you were working on, which is the East Bank, when the flash drive was reinserted to reopen, why could it not be that instead of clicking on the East Bank, you had to click on a name, according to you, to open the file? So why could it not be that they clicked on the wrong name and they brought up the South of Georgetown? You
If
have
I
to
may-
click on a name to open the file.
If I may,
Yes?
when the flash drive was inserted into the computer and they clicked and South Georgetown came up and I objected, everybody else objected, where is East Bank file? That's what we were working on. Mr. Levan then said he couldn't find it. He could not find the East Bank file.
No. Okay, one moment.
Some members...
One moment.
Okay.
He was asked, where is the East Bank file?
Yes, sir.
And he said he could not find it.
Could not find it.
Yes?
Does Mr. Yearwood have his statement? You have your statement?
No.
Thank you.
Could I ask you to look at paragraph 18 of your statement? It says, after much discussion, Mr. Lowenfield took the flash drive to the tabulation room. Mr. Levan plugged it into another laptop. When the screen opened, I saw a file referring to South Georgetown instead of the East Bank file we had been using. Very quickly, Mr. Levan tried to shut it down, but we had all seen it. Mr. Levan offered no explanation for this. When he found the East Bank file, we asked him to reopen the South Georgetown file, but he said he couldn't find it. He did find the East Bank file,
Yes, sir.
but couldn't find the South Georgetown file again.
Correct, sir.
Because earlier I think you said he couldn't find the
I-
East Bank file.
I had it the other way around, sir.
So what's your final position?
Here. He opened the East Bank, and then when we asked him to get back to the South Georgetown file, he then said he couldn't find that.
Okay, thank you.
And this is when someone offered to assist him, being an IT person.
So we could,
In that same paragraph, you said Mr. Levan found the file and opened it. You see that at the third line of that paragraph?
Yes, sir.
Which file are you there referring to?
This would be the South Georgetown file.
So it was eventually found.
It was eventually found.
So, so you're saying that the contents of paragraph 18 would represent a true account of what transpired?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Council, please continue.
Mr. Yearwood, I would like to ask you this. Now, as I understand it from what you told us, the verification process moves sequentially from ballot box to ballot box and statements of polls to statements of polls, correct?
That's correct.
I would like you to look at 1A and 1B. Could you tell us the first and last numbers on 1A and 1B?
The first number on 1A would be 4034, and the last number would be 4045.
And are those numbers numbered sequentially?
Yes, they are.
So, would it be correct to say that after this, you would move on to the next numerical number for that district in terms of ballot box and statements of polls?
Yes, that would be correct.
Now, I want you to look at 1B, JY1B. And is there an indication of any ballot box number at the top of that sheet?
No, there isn't.
Is there any indication of any statement of poll number on that sheet?
No, there isn't.
And are you familiar, or are you in a position to be familiar, are you in a position to say how GCOM formats its internal documents?
No, I wouldn't be able to say other than from what I saw for myself there, and it appears to be a very simple format.
Yes. So we got to the point where you said that you will receive the printout and you returned there for 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, we did.
And
I
this
did.
was- This was when you had been told that the verification process was due to restart, correct?
Correct.
Did it restart at that time?
No, it didn't.
The printouts you got included East Bank and everything you'd counted
Yes, sir.
or tabulated or verified,
Yes, sir.
but it didn't include anything for South Georgetown.
I don't know.
Did
Because
you get a printout?
yes, I did, but I didn't check it for that.
So we got to the point where you said the process did not restart. And apart from yourself, the other participants there,
Yes, they were.
and were observers there.
Yes, they were.
Was any GCOM member in the tabulation room ready to start the process?
Not to my recollection, no.
Did you wait in that room?
Yes, we did.
And at about 10 to 11 that morning, did you see anyone?
Yeah, I saw someone, but can I check the...
Would you like to refresh your memory?
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Well, would you look at
Ah. Yes. No, I'm fine. The air is going above me now. No, no, that's fine where it is.
You are looking at paragraph 20.
Yeah. Yes, I saw when the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Miss Karen Cummings, when she arrived, and she went upstairs.
Okay. Did she come into the tabulation room at all?
Not to my recollection.
All right. And later that day, now you had told us earlier that you had seen Police Commander Thomas during the flash drive, let's say, call it incident, flash drive episode.
That's correct.
So, did you, during the course of that morning, see Mr. Thomas again?
Yes, he arrived back into the tabulation room and asked that everybody vacate the building because there was a bomb threat.
Did anyone leave?
The only people I saw leave would be the APNU AFC representatives.
Can you tell me, well, I take it you stayed.
Yes, I did.
Can you give us a reason for that?
I believe that it was a hoax. It was an effort to clear the building so that something could be done. What, I don't know, but that something could be done by GCOM.
Okay.
And
So
we would-
you stayed because you were suspicious.
Yes, I was very suspicious of everything happening at that point in time.
Okay. And did other agents from other parties also stay?
They also stayed. So did the
Now-
local observers and a lot of the foreign observers.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you this. Well, did any explosive device go off?
No, nothing went off. I don't think anything was found either.
Do you know if a search was done of the building?
I don't know whether a search was done of the building.
Sure.
What I do know is nobody came into our room to search it.
Sure. So after the notification of the bomb threat, did anyone else enter the tabulation room?
Shortly after, those who had left came back in, and a lot of the incumbent ministers started to arrive into the tabulation and verification room.
Sure. And are those the persons you referred to in paragraph 23 of your statement? Could you just take a quick look at it? And
Yes, they are.
Yes. At about 1:20 that afternoon, were you still in the tabulation room?
I was.
And did you see Mr. Clement Mingo, the returning officer for Region 4?
Yes, I did.
Where was he?
He came into the tabulation room to join us.
And what, if anything, did he say or do?
He went to the head table and he attempted to make what I would consider a declaration for the Region 4 district.
And I want you to expand for me a little bit on what you've said. When you say a declaration for Region 4, what exactly are you talking about?
According to the laws of Guyana, it is the returning officer of the district that declares the tally of the votes per political party and who wins the region.
So,
that is a vitally important job for the returning officer.
So when you say a declaration, you're talking about a declaration of the results for the region.
Correct.
Now, up till that time, had the verification of the statements of polls and accordingly the votes, had that verification been concluded?
No, they had not been.
So when Mr. Mengo attempted to make this declaration of the results, did you do anything?
I objected to it.
And did anyone else say or do anything?
All of the non-government, non-APNU, AFC political party representatives objected to it.
Were there any GCOM commissioners there at the time?
Yes, I think there were two. There was Mr. Sais Gunraj and Mr. Robson Ben.
And did they say or do anything?
Mr. Gunraj objected to this as a GCOM commissioner. He stepped up when he objected to the declaration being made.
And did Mr. Mengo, who is the returning officer, did he say anything to Mr. Gunraj, Commissioner Gunraj?
Not that I can recall.
Did Mr. Mengo, well, where were the observers at this time when Mr. Mengo attempted to make the declaration? Are you able to say?
They were in the tabulation room with us.
And did they say anything?
No, they took no part in anything that took place.
Now, sorry.
Mr. Yearwood, you say that Mr. Mingo attempted to make a declaration.
Yes, sir.
Did he make a declaration or he merely attempted?
He merely attempted to.
So no declaration
No
was made.
declaration.
When you say he attempted to make a declaration, what in fact did he do? What did he say?
He said that he was going to make the
Or
declaration,
he said he was going to make a declaration.
and we all shouted him down.
Thank you.
I was just, Commissioner, I was simply just making sure that I didn't run afoul of the time schedule. I see it's 11:30.
11:30, okay.
Yes,
Are you at a convenience?
it is.
We take the luncheon break and we resume at 1.